This morning program from Arizona, where I will be, and I'll be in Phoenix on December 18th, Charles. Senator John McCain. Good morning, Senator McCain.
Good morning, old man. How are you, cowboy?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. I was up in your old hometown of Kingman doing a town hall meeting the other day, and some of the local law enforcement people still remember you well.
You know, my uncle, Elmer Imus, used to be the chief of police of Kingman.
Yes, you kept him busier than most any of the other citizens.
When I was about 12 or 13 years old, I was a little wise-ass, as you might imagine, Senator. He and my dad locked me up in a Kingman jail there for a couple days just to see what it was like. So.
Well, I think there's still some outstanding investigations going on up there.
That will be fine. So the unemployment figures look good, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess if you call 10% good, I mean, I was up in Kingman doing a town hall meeting, my friend. I can tell you that they don't feel anything except enormous pain. They're not able to stay in their homes. They're not able to keep their jobs. So I'm sure Wall Street will go up. I'm sure there'll be more bonuses by these obscene manipulators, and that's fine. And they'll give out billions of dollars in bonuses. But I'd guarantee if you went back to Kingman today and asked them how they think things are, they would not have a rosy picture of what's been going on in their future. In fact, they're mad as hell, and they are angry, and their anger is totally justified, while the obscene profits and too big to fail on Wall Street and on Main Street, they're too small to save. And that's the small banks, that's the small businesses, and that's the people who are trying to stay in their homes in Arizona, which has a real unemployment of some 17%.
Let me rephrase my question.
Yeah.
Well, those unemployment numbers really suck, don't they, Senator?
Well, look, I'm glad to see that there's some improvement.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I can assure you that in Arizona, we're second highest, 48% of the home loan mortgages are underwater. They aren't feeling it yet. And they're about to see a massive tax increase. 330,000 of them are about to lose a program called Medicare Advantage, which is their Medicare benefits that they have earned. And so there's not a lot of happy people out there. So you see tea parties, and you see this people that are madder than I have ever seen them in their life. And frankly, I'm madder than I've ever been.
The president's stimulus bill was supposed to limit unemployment to 8%, but did you support
8%? That was what it was going to be. That was what they all said. All this liberal left-wing economists in the administration said that, yeah.
Did you support that bill?
Hell no. What do you...
Well, I don't think you have to swear at me, Senator, when I just asked it.
I'm not swearing at you.
Oh, okay.
I'm swearing that I would have to have been smoking something pretty strong to have voted for that.
You don't have to bring up that aspect.
Use of taxpayers' dollars. By the way, the AARP that's now weighing in for the administration, I just noticed they got $18 million in the stimulus bill. $18 million for stimulus they gave to AARP. When Americans find out what all this $787 billion is being spent on, they're even more outraged.
I'm talking with Senator John McCain here in the Imus Morning program, who is threatening at any moment to be mean to me. But who knows? You know, I, like everybody else, thinks they know what we ought to do in Afghanistan.
Yep.
And my position is, which is not, I'm not claiming is a good one, but it is the following. We should say we're going to go over there and kill everybody that ought to be killed, and when they're all dead, we'll come home. But that's obviously not what we're going to do. What should we do?
Well, we should have the surge. We should implement McChrystal's recommendations. That we should send the additional troops over there. But most as importantly, we should not announce a date when we're coming home. And there's a tremendous contradiction going on right now. Secretary Gates and Secretary Clinton have said, well, it's this July 2011 date is just a aspirational date, etc. But the the president's press person said he talked directly to the president, that it was chiseled in stone, and he had the quote chisel. And so our allies, the Afghans, the Pakistanis, all countries in the regions now are wondering what in the hell is going on. What's going on? Are you pulling out on July? Are you starting to pull out on July 2011, no matter what, or are you staying until the job is done? And the best way to get out of there is to succeed. And the best way to succeed is to make sure that our enemies know that we're getting the job done, just like we got it done in Iraq, despite all the people who said it would never work, including the present president, and we'll be leaving. But if you tell the enemy, we're leaving on a certain date, not only do they just wait, but also the people who have to live and remain in the region start making other accommodations because they can't leave. They have to stay there.
When you say get the job done, and what does that mean?
Exactly what we did in Iraq.
How many troops do we have?
You go in, you clear, you hold, you build, and I'm very concerned about that part of our strategy too. You go in, you clear, you hold, you build, you get the people on your side, you build up the military, you hand over the responsibilities to them, and they move forward, and the country can no longer be a base for attacks on the United States of America and our allies.
How many troops do we still have in Iraq?
We have
100,000 plus. Or?
No, we have 120,000, and but the point is the casualties are way down. The violence is way down, and we will be leaving shortly after the elections.
Okay, what happens?
By the way, we've got 30,000 troops in Korea. We've got
for 50 years.
1,000 in Germany. We've got troops in Bosnia. We have troops in Kosovo. We've had troops in Japan for 60 years.
How many troops do we have to leave in Iraq to keep it from going back to what it was, which is what I predict will happen when we do leave?
I don't think we have to leave very many, and I think those that are.
How many?
They're out of the cities now, Don. The cities of Iraq have been taken over by the Iraqi military, and there still be acts of violence, and there will probably continue to be acts of violence. But Americans aren't dying in any. The casualties are way down. We have achieved the goal, and we'll be leaving.
Well, when you say how many, 10,000, 30,000?
We'll be left. Whoever is left will be in an advisory capacity, probably training the Air Force and doing things like that, and a hell of a lot less than we've got in South Korea.
So that's less than 30,000, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Over time, yeah.
By the way, we're talking to Senator John McCain. I have to go to Phoenix, digressing here like a drunk at one of Maureen Dowd's parties, but I have to go to Phoenix on the 18th of December because we had an auction for the Imus Cattle Ranch Kids with Cancer, where you've been, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we sold my truck, my old 54 5-window Chevrolet truck, for $50,000.
Wow!
And the auction was up at a golf course in Connecticut, and all of the people there I just assumed were from the Connecticut, New York area, in New Jersey. The people, and I said when we were auctioning it off that I would personally deliver it. The people who bought it live in Scottsdale.
Well, I hope you're not planning on driving, are you?
No, we'll figure something out. So back to Afghanistan for a second. The Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said the 2011 departure date is condition-based. I guess the president said that.
Yeah, and Mr. Gibbs, his spokesperson, said that he had just talked to the president. It was chiseled in stone, and he had the chisel. So there's an ambiguity there that must be cleared up if we expect our friends and allies in the region to stand with us. If they think we're leaving on a date certain, it will weaken our ability. Look, I think the president made the right decision. I think that we need the 30,000 troops. I am confident the military side. I'm not as confident on the civil side. There's a lot of work to be done there. But to tell them you're leaving on a certain date is a huge mistake and could weaken dramatically affect our ability to build up our allies and have a sustainable situation there.
There are many people who think, as I do, then I know you don't because you just explained. So, but there are a significant number of people who feel as I do, and that is that when all of the troops, the most of them leave Iraq, it will be right back to where it was.
I can assure you it won't.
I hope not.
I can assure you, as I assured you that the surge would succeed when virtually every so-called expert, including your friend Mr. Friedman and many others, said that it would fail, including the president. I knew it would succeed, and I was confident that it would. And I staked my campaign for the nomination of my party on it. And I can assure you, if we can succeed in Iraq with the huge caveat of this not having this date certain, that would cause our allies and our allies to be very concerned and not steadfast, and our enemies to be encouraged.
I don't think it's necessary to link me up with Tom Friedman just because she's been on the show a few times.
No, I'm not linking you up
trying to
with
make
him.
me look better.
I'm saying that the Eastern establishment, intellectuals, all said that the surge wouldn't succeed. They conveniently forget that now.
Well, no, of course it succeeded. The question is, what happens when we leave? And I think it's even, not that I know, it's why we ask you to be on. But I think Afghanistan is an even bigger task. So.
Well, Don, let me just explain again to you. Our military are out of the cities. They're in encampments outside of the towns. They're not engaged in active combat except on the rarest of occasions now. The Iraqi army has taken over almost all of those responsibilities. Not all of them, but almost all of them. So the transition to departure after they have their elections, and by the way, they go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Democracy is a very imperfect kind of process, and there's still corruption and there'll still be sectarian problems and violence, but there sure as hell won't be Saddam Hussein.
I hope you're right. So, everything else all right with you?
Whoa, interesting times, my friends. They're trying to cut Medicare, and they're trying to take benefits from Medicare and put it into a $2.5 trillion brand new entitlement program when we already have estimate of $12 trillion deficit already. This is the most interesting time, perhaps, and I've been in the United States Senate with the national security stuff. By the way, I'm glad to see Iran is unclenching their fist. We've got challenges all over the world, and we've got challenges domestically, and it argues for us all to work together.
And did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Very nice, and maybe I'll see you out there on the 18th if the majority leader of the Senate lets us out of here. I'll be back in Phoenix on the 18th.
We all had a better one than Tiger Woods. In fact, Mike Lupica said he had the worst Thanksgiving going back to the first one. All right, Senator, thanks.
All right, and I'm glad those guys are beating up on you this morning. Keep it up, guys.
Thanks. Senator John McCain here at the Imus Program, 12 till the hour.